Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame and Cinnamon Sugar, and this is the recap review for Tyler Perry's Sistas. So, this episode started where it left off last time. Fatima and Zach went to the house, and old boy is waiting on him because y'all know he paid the contractor and he wants to have like a little conversation with him. Every time you looked up, somebody was rolling up to the house, and there's some suspicious things going on. Like, come on now, what's going on here? So Fatima done got out the car, and so he was like, "Oh well, I'll catch you later. No, it ain't that important." And so Zach is to the point where he lived for Fatima, and he's like, pretty much she can hear whatever it is you got to talk to me about. And so she like, no, no, I'll step over to the side while y'all talk. So she stepped over to the side because he did not want her to go into the house yet. So that was one thing. So either she was gonna have to get back into the car or, step over to the side anyway. So, since she didn't want to stand there. So he was just like, look, I paid your contractor and all of that. And he was like, wow, okay, thank you. And so he was like, look, some stuff I need to talk to you about, at a later date and time, but, you can pay me back. I know you're good for it, whatever, whatever. And so he was like, wow, cool. Fatima is not here for nobody. Fatima be looking like, I don't trust you. She can get literally just a hello from you and she'd be like, I don't trust them. And that's the way she feel about him. And so, they eventually go in the house and she sees the final look of the house. She is here for all of it. He didn't set up here and gave her a key to the house and was like, I want you to move in. And she was like, don't you think we moved too fast? And as soon as she said that, I was like, Heifer, you was just about to run away to possibly like another country to be with him on some Bunny and Clyde stuff. But now y'all going too fast. And you want to say, oh, do you think we're going too fast? I was like, ma'am, come on now. You got to stop. And so Zach basically said the same thing. Y'all love each other and all this other stuff. Now it's too fast. Maybe you think it's moving too fast. So anyway, he ain't really trying to hit it. He was like, look, I love you. I ain't never felt this way about nobody before. I want you to move in. And so she was like, I'm going to have to think about it. I don't know what I'm going to do. And if I do move in with you, I'm keeping my old place. So he like, no, sell that. Use the money for something you want to do, whatever. Like, he thought of her. I love how he incorporated her in this situation because he even made like a little section for her to like study in for the bar and, the lawyers, all the stuff she doing for law school or whatever. And like, he really just set it off. Got her like a whole little nook and stuff. So, he's really just trying to express to her, like, I really live for you. I want you. I got to have you, all of that. And so, even though she is hesitant about moving in, she told him, I'm going to have to think about it. Like, look, I'm going to keep my place. Like, I don't know about all what you talking about. I'm going to keep my place. And I understand, like, you don't want to sit up here and get caught up. You over here thinking everything going to be good. She usually is like me. When you would do, you set it off. You go all the way in. You fall deep for the folks. And in her past relationship, she did all of that. These folks ended up leading a double life. Like, don't nobody have time for it. So anyway, Hayden is doing the most. He done rolled up into Andy's office, didn't knock on her door or nothing. Andy was like, what are you doing in here? You're in my office. He was like, I'm in the hall. I was like, Hayden, you were just the smartest person last week. You just picked up on all this stuff like a real lawyer would last week, but now you acting dumb. Like, you don't understand that you are literally standing in her office trying to be funny. And so she told him, you need to get out of my office and all of this. And so he over here rolling up on her to say, yeah, I see your buddy got Fatima out. Why are you worried about her yet again? This is what I'm talking about. You stay rolling up. And so he reading her to myself, well, I got a restraining order, so your girl can't come to work. And so she was like, look, Fatima is going to get a lawyer and, it's going to be a process. So I'm going to need you to go on somewhere. Like, he be trying her. Like, she had to tell him to get on somewhere. Like, the fact that you're creating a hostile work environment, what is with people doing that in real life and on these TV shows? Those of y'all who know. People just be creating hostile work environments, and then when somebody stomp them out, it's a problem. Hey, I'm just saying, I'm trying not to stomp the side heifer out myself. For those of y'all who know. But anyway, I'm just saying, when people get stomped out, then all of a sudden it's woe is me. But we tried to tell you to leave us alone. Oh, okay. Anyway, so at the bank, Sabrina at the bank, and Cowboy Rodeo Preston done rolled up, and she trying to figure out what's going on. Maurice trying to figure out who he is because he look how he look, and he want to see her. And so she was like, yeah, we do have somewhere private we can talk. You can come in my office. So of course he wants to know what's going on with Danny. He want to talk to her. He admitted that he got bad advice from Zach, and that he wants to be able to help her to understand that he really do like her and all of that. And he went about everything the wrong way, and he was only going out on these dates trying to make her jealous and all of that, which Danny has already confirmed. So anyway, he was just like, I was going to all the places that she frequents, hoping that I would run into her and make her jealous and all this other stuff. So, even though he's fessing up to all this stuff, Sabrina was like, these are things you need to be telling Danny and not me, but go off though. So he wanted to know if she would help him out. So she was like, look, I do what I can. So he ended up leaving. Maurice is doing the absolute most. And so she calls Danny and told her what all went down. And so she was like, look, she was reading her and she was like, oh, I think that was kind of cute. And so Danny was like, yeah, I never knew you were this basic. Like, she really be going off. And I mean, part of me understands what she talking about, but she doing a lot when Preston really, really did like her. And it's just the fact that his family is trash. She is not here for that. That was a traumatic experience. Like, his kinfolks did the absolute most. Anyway, so back at Zach's house, Fatima over here cooking. He didn't know she could really burn like that. And so, she was like, well, all right, I'm finna run home and do what I need to do. I'm finna go. And so he looking at her like, what you mean? Spend the night? Like, what is you talking about? She was like, I told you. Like, I gotta go home. Like, I gotta get ready for work. I got other stuff I gotta do. Like, so it got to a point where he was able to at least convince her to run home and come back. So that's what the situation is going to be. So then, before she left, he wanted to have a serious conversation because they keep on talking to him about that stock. And so he wanted to show her how well it's doing. And like right now he's up by 2 million. And so she already told him, I think you need to sell, like, while you're ahead. Yes, it's doing well, but I'm trying to tell you. And so he was like, dang, everybody's saying the same thing. So, it's ultimately up to him because it's his, his money. So it is what it is. And so, like I said, she trying to leave and go home. He ain't really here for it. So then he ended up calling old boy, Jacob or whatever his name is, talking to him. He basically said the same thing. And he was like, look, I think you should let me take your money and invest it. And so he was like, at this point, you're saying the same thing. So for right now, I feel like I should just let this ride. And if I lose the money, it's fine because I already have my money. This is just the money that I put on that stock. And it had just been doing well. So, but I'm going to think about it. And so, at this point, I feel like he needed to listen to Fatima. Fatima usually be on it, and I'm like, now, sir, come on now. So anyway, Danny at the house, and she getting ready for her date because y'all know she said yes again to a date with an old boy. And when she was on the phone with Sabrina earlier, she was talking to her. And so she was like, I think Sabrina was the one who brought it up and was like, oh, okay, well, since you got that going on, where you all going? She said her favorite place, I think it's the Olive. And so she was like, okay, well, are you cool with me double dating so that you can finally meet the princess? So she was like, oh, yeah, that'll work out in my favor. Because, killing two birds with one stone. She's going with our old boy. If that don't work out, she can kind of create some kind of diversion. Worst kind of worst, she can go with her and go home or, create some kind of diversion, like I said. So anyway, she at the house getting ready, and she's pretty much ready. And Andy popped by, and so she was like, oh, you look nice. You look good. Ended up telling her the situation. And so she was like, look, I got a date. So she was like, oh, okay. So anyway, yeah, just having a little conversation with her. I've been paying attention to the fact that I think she took heed because she told her, you don't You don't fool with me like that. You don't fool with me and Sabrina like that. Like, you set it off for Karen, but you don't never be around us. It's like, in all honesty, it's like her and Sabrina are like the comedic relief and afterthoughts in comparison to her and Karen. So it's interesting that she actually be dropping by now and all of that. And so, like, she's gotten to the point where she feels comfortable asking Danny about certain things, about, you know, what's the right thing for her to do with certain situations. And so she would just be looking at her like, girl. And then it's like, you already know what's going on with Gary. Like, girl, you already know what you're supposed to do. You know he trash. It is what it is. So anyway, Sabrina wants to come by and get her hair done. She needs the Karen special. And I'm like, what's that going to be? So she comes pretty much after hours. And so she's talking and having a good old conversation with Karen. Asked her how she doing. She's taking the hair and stuff down. And so you can tell that Sabrina is trying to talk to her as a friend. And she's trying to say it in a soft way. But she wants her to understand, you need to get over Zach. You need to be over Zach. You need to move on. You need to do something else. And so she talking about she feel bad about some of the ways some of the stuff went down between she and Zach. And how she feels like Zach hasn't moved on. I'm just like, the denial is real. The denial is real. So yeah, it's a lot. And, you know, it was just to the point where she kind of went back over the conversation that was had before about how she doesn't have to make a decision today about talking about, you know, who might be the father and, you know, really thinking about it. Well, Gary at the office talking to Aaron, and he ain't trying to hear nothing Aaron got to say. He done told this man to shut up and some more. Of course, he in his feelings, talking like a stalker, a crazy person, everything that he actually is and encompasses. And he talking about, I bought that place. I should have been the one up in there benefiting. Basically, I was like, see, this is why I don't be want nobody to do nothing for me, because they really be trying to sit up there and act like because they bought a hamburger that they own somebody. They try to act like because they bought something that is, I just be like, y'all did the most. Now, I'm being funny when I say that. I'm very clear on the fact that a hamburger does not equate that place that she lives in or the vehicle that she's in. But anyway, though, while they're in the middle of the conversation, he over in his feelings. Aaron trying to get him to calm down. And so he's so upset that Andy actually started calling him. He looked at the phone. He was like, it's Andy. And so he was trying to get him to calm down. He was like, she just gonna say something to piss me off. So he gonna sit up here and put on this front like, hey, how you doing? When he pick up the phone. Like, he really picked up the phone like he was cool, calm, and collected. I'm like, oh no. See, this is the type of dude that, like I keep trying to tell y'all, some people have to die. Some people gotta go. He one of them. After he did what he did and like slung his wife off that bridge or whatever that situation was, oh yeah, he should have been gone before that, to be honest. But I'm just saying. So she wanted to talk to him to see if he's willing to meet up with her. And that, you know, the penthouse is incredible and all this other stuff. So he want to know where she want to meet at. I think she said, you know, possibly at the penthouse or whatever. So that's where they're going to meet. So she was like, well, I'm on my way there now. And, you know, she was talking to Danny and she was saying that she needed to talk to him about some things. And I'm like, is she going to be serious and say, you know what? I just want to be a woman about it all and let you know that I cannot have any more dealings with you. Thanks for the fun times and all the money that you thought that you were going to be able to buy me with by buying all of these things. But I got the pink slip to the car and my name on the deed over here or whatever the situation is as far as that is concerned. Like, my name is on the paperwork and mine alone. So go somewhere and find somebody else. I'm done with you. That's what I'm hoping the conversation is going to be. But Andy is Andy. Ain't no telling what it's going to be. Like, if she come at him saying, I just want to be friends, and it don't mean friends with benefits and entanglement, this man gonna set it off. He gonna choke her out for real this time and kill her for real this time. I'm just saying, ever since he choked her and squeezed almost literally the life out of her, I'm just like, see, I don't understand. You were a whole side chick. Even though you didn't know initially. By the time he choked you out, well, / you know, was squeezing the life out of you, you knew what the situation was. This man was still married. Or had been married. He had been lying to you the entire time. He had anger issues. Everything was blaring red flags. But it was still set it off time for him. And I'm like, why? I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on here. This man literally, I thought this heifer died. And like I keep telling y'all, some people have to die to learn. And Andy might be one of those, depending on what she tells him when she does link up with him. So anyway, she ends up calling Fatima after the fact. And wants to know, like, what is the situation that's going on, and telling her that she wants to link up with him. And so I'm just like, girl, you know what's going on with that situation. So she changes it, and she's like, look, Hayden over here looking up some footage that he ain't supposed to be looking up, dealing with the airport and all this other stuff. Like, do you know of anything illegal going on that Zach was into? And so she was like, I'm going to get Zach to call you. Every time she kept trying to get her, because she was like, you're going to have to tell me something. And so she was just like, I'm going to get Zach to call you. And it's like, girl, it's guilt. We know it's guilt. Like, what's going on here? So tell me why this fool done rolled up to Andy's penthouse. Then rolled all the way up. So he comes in. And so she invites him in. She's really nice to him. And was like, have a seat. She offers him a seat where she has been having sex with Robin. So he begins to have flashbacks of what he ain't had no business ever even seeing in his life, which was the fact that they were having sex. And I'm just like, oh, here we go again with the craziness. He was over here envisioning her and Paris having sex when they weren't even together, and set it off. But now he over here doing the same thing. And again, they ain't together. And I'm just like, sir, it's the craziness for me. Please get admitted. Please get admitted. Like, don't nobody have time for this. And he just kept having so many different flashes of stuff going on. He couldn't even have a conversation with this heifer. He was like, yeah, I can't do this. I can't do this. So she's trying to figure out, what is he talking about? She is very confused. She's very confused as to what this reaction is supposed to be. So Jacob, or whatever this man's name is, he done rolled up because after Fatima left, he was just like, man, where you at? He was like, well, I forgot what he said he was doing, but he wasn't that far away from where he was at. And so he was like, well, I got that check for you, you know, whenever you want to roll up or you want to link up or whatever. And so he was like, well, I can be by that to pick it up. So he ended up coming by, getting it, and they discussed the stock and all this other stuff. And like I said before, he straight up was like, run me the money and I'll invest it. This man was like, why don't you just give me the money? Why don't you give me $1 million? He was like, I feel like we brothers. Yeah, we like brothers, but when you say that, like, it just seems like a setup now. Like, we went from being brothers to kind of brothers, but now we might be distant cousins or estranged. Like, it was doing a lot. So yeah, he is doing a lot. And my thing is, I get both sides, but sir, he still really don't know you like that. Ain't nobody got time. He done gave him his money, went on by his business, and it is what it is. So then, wait a minute. What happened? I know Zach got a phone call. Yeah, Zach got a phone call. I was like, wait a minute, what was the phone call? Zach got a phone call, and it was the woman who gave him the stock tips. And so he genuinely didn't know who it was at first. And so he was like, no, who is this? And so she was like, I'm sure you know who this is. Started saying little buzzwords and all that. And so, of course, you know, somebody gonna come from out of nowhere where all this money is involved. And now you're gonna reappear out of nowhere. We all supposed to be never seeing each other again, but here you go. So let's see what this heifer gonna want next week. But anyway, that was it, y'all. That was the recap review for Tyler Perry's Sistas. I will be back with the recap review for The Chi. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this one. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. Let's talk about it down in the comment section. Subscribe to my channel if you have not done so. And let's get this conversation started. All right, bye y'all.